purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors? Now, time for the most in-depth look at the world of ECU athletics. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Now, here's your host, Stephen Igo.
All right, welcome in to Hoist the Colors on this Wednesday edition of the show, 94.3 The Game. We are live on YouTube, live on Facebook with our usual Wednesday guest, Bobby Harward. Philip Pilkington is in studio behind the glass. We just got done talking with Mike Houston, several assistant coaches. We're going to have a 6-minute interview with Damon Magazoo, new safeties coach, longtime Pirate. We'll play that at some point in today's show. And we'll kind of play a lot of this audio. We got the chance to talk to several coaches. I'll get Philip's take, and we'll share some of those thoughts throughout the show as well as we got the chance to meet many of the new offensive staff members. But, Bobby, how's it going on this Wednesday, 2 days out from ECU baseball?
2 days out from ECU baseball. It's Valentine's Day, so I better say happy Valentine's Day to my wife, Brittany. It's also report day for pitchers and catchers, which is why I am supporting the Orioles today in studio. I know we were talking about The Wire last week, so I wore my Felix Bautista Omar whistle T-shirt. So, excited. Baseball's right around the corner. Weather should be getting warmer. Just a great time of the year. So,
are you allowed to reveal what you're going to do for your wife for Valentine's Day, or is she?
Yes.
Okay. Have you already done it? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I had told you before. She had thankfully told me she was getting me presents. Normally we don't really do presents.
Right. Yeah.
But I got her. So she has her own photography business. I'll do a shameless plug for the Authentic Years, and you can follow her on Instagram. But she is trying to kind of expand her business a little bit. So there's some videos from other professionals that I purchased for her to be able to kind of follow and start expanding her photography business a little bit.
Very sweet of you, Bobby.
Thank you.
Very thoughtful of you.
I can't take all the credit because she sent me a text message and said, "This is what I want," and I clicked the link and so it wasn't.
But at least you followed through and got it. You didn't forget about it. Sometimes I do.
Yeah.
So, what are the chances the Harwards make an appearance at Clark LeClaire Stadium this weekend?
You know, if we can figure out a way to get tickets for free, we would try to go. I would love to take the kids and let them run around in the jungle. I just don't know. Like, I looked a few weeks ago. I guess the game tickets hadn't came on sale yet, and now they are. So I haven't checked to look at the price. I believe softball's at home, right? Because they have that Pirate Invitational or Classic or whatever they phrase it. We do a lot of softball games because they're free. Baseball, I'd love to take them too, but only can do so much with the budget.
So if you have extra tickets, donate them to Bobby Harward is what he's saying.
Yes.
Without saying it.
Yes, you can. You can reach out to me if you're a Hoist the Colors member, or you can shoot me a message on social media. I'm on Instagram and Twitter, or X.
By the way, shout out to softball, by the way. Awesome. I just said by the way twice. But awesome win last night. Anna Sawyer, D.H. Conley product. I actually watched the game. We were ironically hitting baseball in the backyard. Came in, saw they were down 4-1. So my son and I watched the end of the game. They walked it off, 3-run double, 2 outs. Kind of your dream walk-off scenario. They are 7-0, Bobby. So if you do go to softball, you're going to be supporting a winner.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Great start to the year. Fun fact, I taught Anna Sawyer at D.H. Conley High School. So I had her in my Microsoft Excel class her freshman year. I never forget this because we played 2 Truths and a Lie as like an icebreaker. And one of her 3 things she listed was, "I'm committed to Duke to play softball." So I said, "All right, what grade are you?" She said, "Freshman." I said, "All right, that's your lie because no way a freshman is committed to Duke." And sure enough, she was. Obviously, she's since signed with ECU and is here, but always enjoy following her. Same with Dixon Williams, another guy I had in class at D.H. Conley as well. He was quite the character. Enjoyed having him as well. But like to see the locals choosing ECU and performing well at ECU.
And look, if you would not have taught them the things in that class and allow them to pass, they would not be at ECU today. So you can take almost full credit for their arrivals.
I'll take some of their credit for their NCAA clearinghouse and getting the credits needed.
All right, Philip, you were at the event earlier today with myself, several other media members. Mike Houston, what did we talk to him about? 10 minutes, just kind of a little bit of everything. Now, it was kind of funny. Funny's not the right word, but I walked in about 10 minutes after reading the tweet that Tim Dowse had taken a job at Pittsburgh, ECU special teams coordinator, defensive ends coach, and there was his nameplate sitting on a table. And I was like, yeah, I don't think he's showing up, which he did not, of course, but we'll talk about that news in a minute. But Philip, what did you think of the event, getting to know some of the new coaches, talking a little post-signing day? Any big takeaways from you?
Well, first off, shout out to softball and darn you, Scooter and Parker, because both of y'all left when the Pirates were down 1-0. And I stayed till the end and saw Anna Sawyer walk it off. So just want to put that out there that I stayed till the end even though it got cold. No, big thing that I took away is, last year wasn't the best year. We know that. But no matter what coach I talked to, no matter what side of the football they were on, they talked about the returning players. And when you talk about returners, guys who played a lot last year, I think that's good for team chemistry. Because, look, there are a lot of new faces, transfers, freshmen, and this is a team that, despite struggling, had a lot of good team chemistry last year. But you have to build on that to be successful, and I think they will. And it seems that every position coach had faith in the guys that started last year to step in and continue to build off where they were a year ago. And not that they weren't talking about the transfers, not that they weren't talking about the freshmen. They were excited to get them on campus. But that wasn't the focal point of this. It was all about building off what has already been done. I think it's proved that the foundation that was laid here by Mike Houston, those two teams that went to those two bowl games, was not broken last year. We're not starting from square one again. And I think that's very important moving forward.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because Coach Houston did mention in his press conference a lot about the returners, the need to gel everybody together. There's just a lot that has to be done in a short amount of time if they want to win football games, because you look at it now with Coach Dowse leaving, that's 6 new coaches from the on-field perspective, 4 on offense, 2 on defense. Once Dowse's replacement coming in, Damon Magazoo, of course, we'll have an interview with him later in this program. 6 new on-field coaches. I think something like 35, 40 new players, counting walk-ons, transfers. So there is a lot to get done, Bobby. And I asked Coach Houston about meshing it all together. How does that even happen? And really don't know until you get on the field. So this has got to be the most vital spring this program has had in years.
Well, it's the most vital spring of Mike Houston's career, that's for sure. The interesting thing, bringing in 35 to 40 guys,
which a lot of programs are probably doing.
Right,
but.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say is that's probably the new norm right now in college athletics, which is sad, and it makes it so difficult to build and sustain cultures. And I do wonder if, obviously normally Mike Houston comes in, we went to 2 bowl games, and you just continue to see the trajectory rise and the program continue to rise. I wonder now if we will start seeing more of the kind of up and down seasons, just because, year in and year out, you really don't know who you're losing, who you're gaining. So I think it's going to be also critical, and I think John Gilbert did a good job of just evaluating, all right, is there a mess in the locker room? Are we having players get in trouble in downtown at bars and stuff like that? Are they getting arrested? Okay. No issue, locker room issues, no issues with the law. All right, culture seems to be pretty solid. Let's just chalk it up to a bad year scheme-wise. Obviously, they did what they needed to in the offseason to get that fixed. But I'm excited for this new offensive staff. From a staff standpoint, it does take a while to mesh. I don't know if they still do this. We used to have, I think it was post-spring ball, we would have a coach's retreat, and it was kind of a weekend. We got to get away at a beach house and just really have a lot of fun and connect as coaches. And I wonder if they do something similar to that still, and that's an opportunity for those offensive and defensive coaches to mesh. Thankfully, Coach Dowse didn't leave right during spring
the
ball
first
like
day
last
of spring
year.
practice.
But it is still unfortunate because it's later in that process, and so Mike Houston may not have the pick of the litter there in terms of a D-line coach. But yeah, I'm excited to see it all pieced together. There's a lot of unanswered questions, which I think makes spring ball so intriguing and exciting this season.
All right, we asked Coach Houston, a media member did, about Tim Dowse leaving, and more so, big picture, like, is this just the new norm in college athletics with a lot of coaches leaving for the NFL, which creates a domino effect? I'm not sure where the Pittsburgh defensive line coach went, but either way, you see that a lot this time of year. So Tim Dowse leaving for Pittsburgh. He was the ECU special teams coordinator, defensive ends coach the past 3 years. Here's Coach Houston addressing that earlier today.
Well, I think you've always got to be prepared for things like this to happen. I think anytime you have success in certain areas, then you got the potential for this to happen. You can never predict it. The one thing I will say, and I said it last year, I'll say it to our staff this afternoon, the way Chris Foster and Tim Dowse, the way they handled everything, on their end, consummate professionalism. And so, it helps you be prepared for this a little bit better. It doesn't just come out of the blue. And so, Blake and I have been talking for the last, week or so. So when Tim told me this morning that he was accepting the job, it doesn't just blindside you. And I appreciate the job that he did. He's a good friend in addition to being a quality coach, and wish him all the best of luck at Pitt. But thanks to that popping out 5 minutes later this morning, my phone's blown up all morning. So we'll have a quality candidate. We've already had several people that I know that are quality coaches reach out to us. I'm meeting with the kids here in a little while just to talk to them. My number one priority is we get somebody that's going to do an outstanding job with our players. Our players in this program are my number one priority, and I want men that are just like Tim, just like our current coaches that you're getting ready to talk to. I want men of character that are going to care about our players. They're going to develop our players. They're going to push our players, but they're going to be more than just an on-the-field coach for them. And that's the kind of individual we're looking for.
All right, there's Mike Houston. We'll have the complete press conference up. It may already be up on 94.3 The Game YouTube page. I know you guys have several interviews up, so check that out after this show or whenever for the assistant interviews. 94.3 The Game YouTube page. We'll have some up on Hoist the Colors YouTube as well. We'll play some of these interviews throughout the week. So Tim Dowse has done a really good job the last 3 years at overseeing special teams. And a lot of people see special teams coordinator Bobby and they think, all right, he's running the entire special teams, and he does oversee it. But when I'm out at practice, every coach kind of has their own little station, so to speak, or own area of special teams. And I think they more so do it that way under Coach Houston. And I don't think the special teams coordinator thing is as big of a loss. They may try to bring in somebody with that experience, but I think it's more you lose a guy who has recruited now 3 years in that defensive end room, recruited a lot of these specialists, specifically the snappers, all that sort of stuff. So the relationship, Coach Houston mentioned it, he wants somebody who can come in and do a good job with the players. That's going to be real key to replace here.
For sure. Yeah, the special teams aspect of it, it does sound like Houston does it a little bit differently in the sense, I'll go give an example. Under Ruff, Coach Kirkdahl was a special teams coordinator. Every position coach outside of the quarterback coach had a position on each team that they coached. They didn't coach the whole scheme or anything like that, but they had a position within each team. Whereas with Mike Houston, it seems like, Coach Dowse oversees everything and may be in charge of two of the teams, whether that's punt return and kick return or whatever, and then some of the other assistants fill in and are in charge of the other teams. I do know Trip Weaver was heavily involved in one of those, so really you're kind of losing two. But one thing we were talking about a little bit in terms of the flexibility of what they can bring in on the staff is Roy Tesh has done a lot of special teams work before. He's coaching D tackles. I'm sure he can coach D ends. He's kind of coached it all in his career. So it gives Mike Houston a little bit of flexibility, being able to move Tesh around and being able to really get the right culture fit. To your point, like Sam Donka, make sure I'm pronouncing it because I know I can screw that up, is like a young pass rusher that really grew a lot towards the end of the year. And obviously he has a relationship with Coach Dowse. You have some other pass rushers. Thankfully, Powers and Jeremy Lewis are moving on, but still a lot of those young guys probably came here recruited by Coach Dowse. So just finding a guy that meshes well with them and he can connect with is really going to be the key, because unless those players know that you care, they're going to tune you out.
How much concern – I don't know if concern is the right word, because, look, there needed to be change. So, like, there's 6 new coaches – 4 of those on offense, which, I think we all agree kind of need to happen. Like, are you concerned about the turnover on the coaching staff, or is that too just part of the business now?
Both. It's part of the business, unfortunately. Normally, though, when you have a down year like we had this past season, you do see a complete overhaul on one side of the ball, which we saw. The thing I liked is JDB was able to bring in guys that he trusted and work with. So I think in terms of just offensively as a unit, looking at them, I feel pretty good about it because I feel like they're all going to be on the same page. They're still going to have a phase like spring is going to be that much more important. You're maybe not able to focus as much on recruiting because you're trying to narrow down scheme, practice plans, how you want to coach everything going into spring ball. The defensive side of the ball, they've lost 2 guys now, so that thankfully they have, a few guys there that are consistent.
Tesh has been there forever.
Right.
So him and Blake. You got Jules, but I think losing Tripp and Dowse, 2 D coordinator guys in their past, and obviously Tripp being a D coordinator now, like, you do lose a lot there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so you got to bring 2 new guys in. You got to teach them, what you're wanting from a defensive perspective, and then they have to then be able to teach and present it to the kids in a way that they can understand and retain it. So, yeah, just a little bit of concern from a continuity aspect. There always is, but that's where the interview process is so critical. And I'll say this, every hire Houston has made to this point has hit. So, obviously, whatever questions he's getting down to or approach he takes with making sure he gets the right guy, so far he has shown, in my opinion, that he's hiring the right people that fit the culture that he wants. He has a clear vision, and he's searching for that. And honestly, he doesn't wrap up that search process until he gets the guy that really fits. Whether he's a big name or not is not much of a concern to him. And in all honesty, too, football is football. Whether it's D3, D1, NFL, high school, football is football. So.
All right, let's get a break in. We'll come back. We will talk to one of those new hires on the other side, Damon Magazoo, ECU safety. Former ECU safety is back as the safeties coach. So we'll talk with him. We'll have more with Bobby. This is Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday.
It's Greenville Toyota's winter wrap-up event. Wrap up a great deal on over 100 pre-owned vehicles, starting under $15,000. We have all makes and models, including luxury. Plus, wrap up a huge warranty and no-charge maintenance. Hurry into Greenville Toyota.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors, with locations in Winterville, Newbern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow-cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hey, grab me one too.
place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place, and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
It's Greenville Toyota's Winter Wrap-Up Event. We're wrapping up the year with our biggest savings. Shop new Camrys and RAV4s, $289 a month. Need credit? Get pre-qualified today. Wrap up a great deal with payments from $289 at Greenville Toyota.
Here there be pirates. Back to Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo. How good is this on 94.3 The Game?
Welcome back in, Hoist the Colors on this Wednesday, 2 days out from first pitch. We'll talk some baseball in a little bit. We've got our roundtable coming up on Thursday's show. It'll be Scott Rogers, myself, Jonathan Wagner, Scott Lorbatcher from the Hoist the Colors podcast. Previewing ECU baseball, making preseason picks. Looking forward to that. And then Friday, we'll kind of have a pregame show of sorts with Joe Sampson and more. All right, Bobby Harward is in studio today. He is brought to you by Sup Dogs. You guys know the deal. Check him out downtown Greenville. Big news today. The Team Boneyard Crush Vodka, coming from the new Sup Dogs Distillery downtown, has been released, or will be exclusively released this Friday, February 16th at 10 a.m. only at the new ABC store, 1400 Charles Boulevard in Greenville. Bottles will later be available throughout ABC stores in Pitt County and at the Crush Vodka Distillery downtown. So this is a sweet bottle, Bobby, as we look at it here. Purple label, Sup Crush Vodka, got a skull in the front. The best thing about it, 100% of the profits from the bottle will go to support NIL opportunities for ECU student athletes. So 100% of that money spent buying this vodka will go to Team Boneyard NIL, which is, I think this is going to be a massive hit.
Dude, that's it. It's just so impressive.
You're getting so choked up.
I know. I'm so excited because that ABC store is right down the street from my house. So
Bobby already has an appointment 10 a.m. Friday.
10 a.m. Friday. I'm going to block off my work calendar. I'm going to head to the ABC store. But no, in all seriousness, let alone the amount of things that Sup Dogs has done for Team Boneyard and just all their contributions and to ECU athletics, to then do something like this, it's freaking awesome. And then, I was really excited to have Pirate Brews last year, and then now to have vodka, ECU special vodka, that's pretty awesome.
Bobby is just so emotional about it. He just can't handle it. Well, all right. We may get him emotional too with this interview. We're going to play the Damon Magazoo interview now from today's media event. It's about 6 minutes long. I tell you what, I shared a nice embrace with Mags. A little dap up, shoulder hug. It just felt good, man. It's good to have a Pirate back. Here's our conversation with Damon Magazoo, new safeties coach at ECU. All right, here with Damon Magazoo. And Damon, how does it feel to be back in Greenville, man?
Feels good. Feels good to be back home. And when I landed, back in the Carolinas, I never thought I'd miss that red clay so much. But it feels good to be back home with Pirate Nation, and been loving getting to know the staff and getting to know these kids, and just excited to continue to work and develop.
Take us through the process of kind of when you found out ECU was interested. How quickly did it go, and leaving UNLV and everything, coming back here?
I think the process seemed very organic, just in conversations with Coach Houston, and it was really getting to know each other before even really getting to the football piece of it. I think that piece is most important, not only for Coach Houston to feel comfortable about me as a person, but for me to be able to get to know Coach Houston, which I've watched from afar. In his times at the Citadel and JMU, and obviously being here at East Carolina. So there was some familiarity that I had with him. Not sure if he had any with me, but it was good to get to know each other on a personal level, and then work to the football piece and philosophy piece throughout the process. So,
getting to know Coach Harrell, did you have any familiarity with him, and then your early thoughts on kind of his scheme and learning that a little bit?
Yeah, again, I've had some familiarity just from watching ECU from afar, and I've always been impressed with what he's done, him and his staff and the players, what they've done defensively. So it's been fun to learn this past month and a half, and I'm just trying to learn as much as possible from him and the other defensive coaches and even some of the players. The guys that have been here in the safety room. Got no issues asking them like, hey, what are we calling here? So I'm excited to continue to dive into the details of the scheme, but it's an effort-based defense, and the guys run around and they play their tails off, and that's what East Carolina is all about in general, not just defensively, but offensively, special teams wise, and play with passion and effort.
How much did Trip Weaver also, because obviously he was on rough staff as you were a player, that familiarity maybe helped during the process too? You could probably reach out to him a little bit.
Absolutely, and kind of once this thing came about, and I was blessed by Coach Houston and was able to get my family out here. Me and Trip have always stayed in contact at all of our different stops, and again, which is why I have familiarity with Coach Harrell and Coach Houston, just keeping up with Trip's career and how he's been doing. But that piece has been comforting to know that if I have a question, I can give him a call, and I know that he'll answer or get back to me. I know he's busy also trying to get his thing rolling. So it's been a beautiful and awesome transition getting back home.
How much has the stadium or just East Carolina, Greenville changed since you left?
I'll tell you what, I was at my mom's house in Fort Mill, South Carolina. So I drove over here on the 2nd, and the very first thing is just the bypass, right? You used to have to take that right, go over the train tracks. So immediately I was like, okay, it's a little different from when I was here last. And now the beautiful press box we're sitting in, it was started construction as I was leaving the last time I was here, and they did a heck of a job with it. With all the support and all the money that has gone into this renovation has been huge, not just for game day, but for recruiting and everything of that nature. And so it's been huge to have that support from all of Greenville and all of East Carolina fans.
For you, you played on this turf and you've had some big moments, obviously. How much do you feel like that will help you relate to the players as you coach them, in your safety room this spring and this offseason?
I think it helps. I think being able to say and relate exactly sitting in their seats that they've been in or they're currently sitting in, I think helps at least build that trust and familiarity maybe quicker on the front end. So maybe bypassing just time with having that familiarity helps and builds that trust from me to them and them to me, because it's a two-way street too. And so I think that playing here and sitting in their seats has helped maybe just speed up that process of building relationships and trust.
Last thing, we know David Magazoo, the player, so tell us a little bit about David Magazoo, the coach. What do you really demand out of your players, and kind of give us the scouting report on you as a coach?
Oh, man. Tough question there. I'm tough on my guys, but it's all from a place of love, and I want them to be the most successful young men off the field that they can be, and then the football part will take care of itself. And so, I look at myself as more of a life coach in trying to help these young men grow, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, if they choose, to help them become better young men and be successful in life. And so I'm very demanding in those regards. And we've had a lot of conversations of when I've already been demanding in this past, month and a half. But again, going back to that relationship piece and trusting each other, I've been blessed that they've put a lot of trust in me, and they're following my lead and understanding that it's coming from a place of care. But I'm also going to celebrate the smallest success with a lot of passion, because they deserve it. They work their tails off, both off the field and on the field. And so, we got to celebrate those things also, more than the negatives, because there's enough negativity out there in the world, and they're dealing with enough things being a student athlete and as young men in society. And so trying to be there and be a support system for them and help guide them in the right direction.
All right, there's our conversation with Damon Magazoo earlier today. Again, we caught up with every assistant, minus Tim Doust, on staff, and we'll play a lot of this audio in the coming days. And great conversation with Damon Magazoo. So you were on staff when Mags was a player. What do you remember most about Damon Magazoo, the player?
Leader is probably the first word that comes to mind. Like he was a coach on the field, which makes sense given his pedigree with his father and his father being a longtime NFL coach, and so that was leader, and then just a good dude. Like we were talking while that clip was playing. I had class with Damon. We're right there in age. I think I may be a year older or whatnot, but talking. He was asking questions about coaching and the lifestyle and the hours that we put in as GAs and those sort of things. And obviously he was very, very, very close with Trip Weaver. That was kind of his dude. So he had a good feel and knowing his dad and, growing up, his dad coached his whole life. So he had a good feel for it, but you kind of knew he would be a great coach. Here we go again. Just based upon his leadership qualities on the field. Like, he was so cerebral too. Like, he was so smart on the field. You really just had to tell him things once, or Coach Smith and Tripp did. And so, yeah, it's just cool to see him and keep track of his career, going from ECU to Oklahoma to UNLV, having his own room, and now coming back here.
Always good to have an alum back, especially a guy who has, made gigantic plays that live on in ECU football history. So looking forward to seeing him on the field this spring. All right, let's get another break in. We'll come back. We'll talk some ECU basketball, ECU baseball. We'll hit on maybe some more football as well on this Wednesday edition of Hoist the Colors.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Fifth Street Hardware is the home of the $9 lunch special Tuesday through Fridays. $9 specials every day, including the famous Burger Day on Tuesdays, Flatbread Pizza Wednesday, the famous Fifth Street Hardware Reuben on Thursday, and fried fish or shrimp on Friday. Plus trivia on Wednesday nights and live music every Thursday nights. And the Prime Rib Brunch Buffet has returned on Sundays. You heard that right. The Brunch Buffet with all the great items, including prime rib. Fifth Street Hardware in downtown Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, Newbern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
This is ECU head football coach Mike Houston, and you're listening to Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
All right, Hoist the Colors, Wednesday edition, February 14th. Valentine's Day edition of Hoist the Colors. Shout out to all the ladies that are listening. We know that there are plenty.
Yeah.
That just love to hear about Pirate Athletics. Thank you guys for tuning in. And if you're looking for a date, Philip Pilkington is available. Isn't that right, Philip?
I am. You can come over, hang out, watch Daytona 500 qualifying together. It'll be a great Valentine's Day.
Or sit in the studio and produce basketball and baseball over the weekend with you.
Yeah, there's that too.
There's plenty of ways to get to Philip's heart. And we can tell you all about it. Just show up at the Interbanks Media Studios in the next 30 minutes. We'll make it happen. All right. It is Valentine's Day. It is a Wednesday. That means Bobby Harward is in studio. Again, he's brought to you by Sup Dogs today. Appreciate Sup Dogs' support of the program and of East Carolina Athletics. We mentioned earlier, checking them out, the new Team Boneyard vodka bottle, Sup Crush Vodka. It's a awesome deal. 100% of the proceeds will go to Team Boneyard. Check that out. Social media, it'll be available Friday in the ABC store on Charles Boulevard. All right, basketball is back in action. I think the women play tonight at Rice. That is a huge game for the top of the conference standings, so don't forget about that. That'll be a big game. Kim McNeil's team starting to hit its stride. Pirates looking for revenge in that one. The men host the Wichita State Shockers inside Minges Coliseum Thursday at 7 o'clock, Military Appreciation Night. And again, Bobby, just as we start to get frustrated with the Pirate basketball team in this season, what do? They go out and get a nice road win. Look, UTSA is not good, but ECU basketball winning on the road is a big deal. And when they dominate a game on the road, wire to wire, it's a big deal. So I ask you again, are you back on board?
Not yet. I've learned my lesson. I was very pleased. I watched the game Saturday afternoon, so saw them play UTSA, and that's what gives you like a glimmer. It's like, all right, if they can just
make shots,
shoot the basketball with somewhat consistency, like they'll never be as hot as they were against UTSA, but at least just have some consistency scoring the basketball. Then you give yourself a legitimate shot. I'm a little worried about Wichita State coming in. Believe it was a close game up in Wichita, and then Wichita actually took Florida Atlantic pretty close. I watched that game. I think it was Sunday afternoon. Normally I can rely on some American Athletic Conference basketball on Sunday afternoon during the kids' nap time. But, yeah, they had a chance to put away FAU and kind of fell flat, lost in overtime, I believe. So
they lost by 13 points in overtime.
Yeah.
So what happened in overtime? Did you stick around for that?
They just couldn't score. Yeah, they could not score. FAU finally went on a run and put the game away. And, yeah, it got out of hand pretty quickly in overtime, if I remember correctly.
FAU scored 21 points in overtime.
Yeah. At one point, they had scored, I think, the first 11 or 13 points of the overtime. So they must have traded baskets back and forth after that. But, Wichita, here's the thing with the American, dude, is like every game, even if it's the very top team against the very bottom, like Charlotte, Temple was close, over the weekend as well. I feel like every game is close. There's no real blowout. So, I mean, the quality of basketball may not be as up to par as maybe somebody likes to watch, whether it's in the ACC or the SEC, whatever your preference is. But honestly, I was thinking this too. I feel like quality of college basketball is just down in general. That's just a side observation I've made watching college athletics over the last few weeks.
Wichita State, 10-14, 2-9, 1-7 on the road. I will say though, like they're better than their record indicates. I hate that saying, but I do feel like Wichita State is better. OT versus Florida Atlantic, they beat UTSA by 20. At Memphis, they lost on a buzzer beater, 65-63. At Tulsa was not a good performance. They lost by 11. But they beat SMU at home. Again, ECU was 54-52. At USF, they lost by 4. At FAU was another close game. They lost by 9. And so they've had a bunch of close losses, especially recently. So I feel like they're talented. And, Philip, you remember you watched some of the first game or produced it. I go into Thursday thinking this is a toss-up game. I mean, I don't think ECU, they may be favored slightly, but this feels like a toss-up game that could go either way.
Well, to Bobby's point, it seems like that every game in the toss-up in the conference is a toss-up game. But no, I definitely agree. This is a team that looks to be playing with more confidence now. Not that they were terrible at the beginning of conference play, because they did lose some heartbreakers, and I was worried going into Wichita, whatever it was, 3-4 weeks ago. But I think it's one of those things where, unfortunately, the Pirates have not looked great at home this year. I think they've been a little better on the road, even in some of the games they've
weird
lost.
To say.
It is. But, like, I'm calling the Florida game a road game. You know, the net and the Ken Palm and all that can call it what they want. But it was a road game. And how good they looked there, and then how good they looked for 36 minutes against FAU. And, look, this is a team now that's got a taste of winning. And they beat a team with their one conference win that was way up the up the pecking order, but a middle of the pack team. It's not like they beat the second worst team in the league, whoever that is. I think it's Temple probably. So this is a team that's proved they can play with teams such as ECU. And honestly, being a Pirate basketball fan for the last 7 years, I've learned every game is a toss-up game, because you might beat Memphis at home. You might beat Houston at home when they're top 5 in the country, and you might lose to South Carolina upstate. It is the most toxic relationship in the history of toxic relationships. As soon as you're ready to quit and get out, they go on the road to UTSA, they hit an ungodly number of threes, and they pull you right back in. That is being an ECU basketball fan, and that's how it's always going to be.
The toxic relationship. That's a really good way of phrasing it there, Philip. I do think I have an answer of why they're bad at home. It's because we cannot get the matching undershirts for our gold jerseys and cannot wear the gold jerseys at home. So we're having to you notice they won and they wore purple.
Oh, my goodness. We let the uniform guy have a hot mic and let him talk on set.
Maybe they should go with the black unis again. Oh, what do you think?
No, absolutely not. I think they did that once already this year, right?
Yeah, they went North Texas blackout and should have won that game. Should have won that game. ECU's 8-7 against Division I teams at home. And
the fact you have to add Division I teams is not good.
Ferrum, of course, the non-D1 game. I just feel like we said it in the preseason. ECU, I think I had them losing 3 home games, if that, with this amount of home games. I expected them to be better at home, and it just hasn't materialized yet. And if they want to get over this hump, win 3 games in a row, and look, I'm not trying to put the cart before the horse because they got to beat Wichita State, but you have an opportunity here, Bobby. Winnable home games, Wichita State and Tulane. Two solid teams, but you play them at home. You know, with the stretch coming up after the game at Rice on February 24th, you close with Memphis, at North Texas, at SMU, and Charlotte. So this is the stretch. It has to happen.
Yeah, and especially coming in, getting down the stretch of the season, leading into conference tournament play, like you have to win these games so you're not playing on that first day. I believe the conference tournament, you have a double bye. So, like, it makes it even – there's double bye. So, at least if you can, get a bye that first game and play that second day, that's a lot better than playing on that first day, which is, I think, a Tuesday, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes, either Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it might be Wednesday because –
Championship Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because there are 5 rounds now, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yep. Sorry, I had to do that in my head.
Good math for a English guy.
Terrible math person. All right, ECU baseball, again, getting underway. Friday, 4 o'clock, they host Ryder. Ryder went to the Conway Regional at Coastal Carolina last year, beat the top seed Coastal. They returned 3 of their top 4 hitters. They have some talent. They'll throw a lefty starter with some experience on Friday. 2 o'clock will be the first pitch Saturday, 1 o'clock Sunday. We've had a lot of baseball coverage this week. Cliff Gobbin on our Monday show. Also had Justin Wilcox in the studio. Any big storylines you're watching, Bobby, as the season nears from your perspective as a baseball guy?
Looking at injuries, just monitoring that's always something that can take a season off the rails.
You've seen State and Carolina both already lost a weekend starter for the year.
Oh, so, wow. I had not seen that. Okay. Yeah, see, exactly.
I mean, that before the first pitch is thrown.
Yeah. And when you're in collegiate baseball, obviously you can't sign free agent guys throughout the season to make up for that. And really, some quality starters are few and far between. So if you have two really good ones, like, you're already ahead of the game. So if one of those goes down, that's always a concern. I do like the blend of, veteran leadership and young talent that we have. So I'm excited to see, how they mesh together. And then if we can get a little bit more power in the lineup and hit some more bombs, that would be awesome.
We're going to have a round table tomorrow. We'll do a breakout pick. My question to you, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who's your ECU baseball breakout performer for 2024?
That's a good one. I think JCC has a bounce back year, and I'm also going to go Dixon Williams. He had
you taught him.
I taught him. I taught him everything he knows how to swing a bat.
Right.
In all seriousness, he had a hot bat this summer. It sounds like he's had a great off-season program, and I can see that bat staying hot here coming into the season.
He will be the team's starting third baseman, according to Cliff Godwin, on Monday for Friday's season opener. All right, in programming note, I've been working on this for like a week and a half now, but we finally locked down Connor Norby. We will have Connor Norby on the show. We're going to record it Friday. We'll probably replay it early next week. So the real question is, do I need to get you back in studio for when we talk some O's baseball with Connor?
That would be awesome, yeah. And if you could also ask him if he can get me down to Sarasota for a few days just to hang out with the guys, that would be pretty cool too. Which, side note, probably nobody else listening cares about, Masson is televising 7 spring training games this year, which is 5 more than they've done in the past. So Pirate fans that want to watch Norby in spring training, at least you'll have a few more opportunities this year.
And I think that means we could see Connor Norby on Masson.
On Masson, which I hope you have a Fire Stick that's jailbroken.
I was going to say, you've got to have Masson. But the only way to get that was what, DirecTV? I think only DirecTV has Masson.
That's correct.
I used to have it, and now I've had DirecTV in years, so it's a tough ask, for these Orioles and National fans that are trying to watch the games. But it is what it is. All right, let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up with Bobby. We'll maybe get your thoughts on the Super Bowl, and we'll talk some MLB. We're going to have a MLB preview show at some point this preseason, which I'm looking forward to. Go through all the divisions, make some picks, but we're not quite there yet. But we'll talk some other things to wrap up the show on this Wednesday. This is Hoist the Colors.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cook-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place, and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
Hey, grab me one too.
Air service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport. Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
The Pirates play here. Arr! This is Hoist the Colors Radio with Stephen Igo. Yes! That was so good! On 94.3, The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors. A few minutes left. I meant to bring this up earlier when we were talking basketball. ECU, you know, they have a chance at a winning record, which I think would be a huge step in the right direction if they could pull it out. But 0-2 versus Quad 1, 0-5 versus Quad 2, 2-2 versus Quad 3. 9 of their wins Quad 4. So that, you know, they're basically beating the teams they should beat and have lost to the teams they should lose to. They're 5-0 against teams beneath them in the standings, 0-6 against teams ahead of them in the American standings. So you got to start somewhere. Some people have said, hey, with this weak schedule, a winning record, what does that really mean? But for me, Bobby, it's like you just want to see some progress. And that you haven't had a winning record as a program since 2012-13. So I know the opponents haven't been great, but that still would represent a step forward if they could pull it off.
First time in 11 years. That, to your point, that's a big deal. I love that you're trying to find optimism.
Hey,
because,
man, try to.
You know, we had high expectations, and I don't even know if high is the best way to phrase it because they weren't super high. We were not projecting.
Solid expectations.
Yeah, like fair expectations. Right. And, you know, I think we have been let down a little bit knowing the talent that was returning and kind of our schedule and how that's set up. So, you know, I am still on board with Mike Schwartz. I had a rant last week that I'd still like to see him come back and give him a shot at, you know, going after some guys in the portal. But, yeah, we got to start winning those games and not dropping the ball on some of those SC upstate games and things like that. That's where things come back to bite you, because if we win games like that, if we don't lose, I know one of those Pirate Classic games that we lost was at Northeastern. Yeah.
You're 14-10 if you don't lose those two games.
14-10, and then you take out the North Texas shot, you're then 15-9. Like, just little things like that, they add up, and it becomes frustrating.
Super Bowl, what did you think? Which you were at the
I was at the Igo household. That's
was
right.
Just an absolute chaos. Speaking of Club Chaos, which we talked about yesterday on the show, it was Club Chaos, little person version, as we had so many kids there.
Yes. Thankfully, my wife and I left our two older kids. Her parents are in town, and they are awesome. They came over and they watched the kids for us, so we could try to enjoy just being able to focus on the game. And you still were able to do so much of that. It's also people I haven't seen in a while getting to catch up and wanting to talk. So I think my dad asked the next day what my favorite commercial was, and I didn't watch any commercials. So, yeah. But the food was good. Enjoyed it. Appreciate the hospitality. Always
Absolutely.
fun.
It was good stuff. What did you think of the game from what you could see? Did you stay up for overtime?
I did stay up from overtime. I thought it was a good game. Obviously, kind of listening to some of the gambling experts before I put in some of my prize picks selections, they were pretty spot on. They thought it was going to be a defensive battle for most of the game, and I feel it was that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, classic, I'm not a Patrick Mahomes fan, but, again, the dude is impressive. Like, he continues to do it over and over again and showing up in these primetime spots and game-winning drives, and they did it again. I thought it was – what was funny was Adam Schefter, I think, as a joke, had made a tweet like, I've seen the script. It's going to be Chiefs win in double overtime. And that game was like a second away from going to double overtime. So then there would have been some real conspiracy theories.
Man, Mahomes is just – you knew as soon as he got the ball back in OT and had a chance to go win it with a touchdown. You know, I texted Scott Lowerbatcher, who will be on tomorrow's show, baseball guy, and he's a Niners fan, and I was just like, they missed their chance to score a touchdown there. And You give Mahomes all the time in the world, which he had, and 4 downs to get 10 yards. Like, you can't stop him unless you get a fluke turnover. So it was just – he's just too good, Bobby, is what it comes down to.
I think he's 7 for 7 on game-winning drives.
I saw that tweet, yeah.
Yeah, which it's just amazing. It truly is impressive. You can't give them an opportunity, and they had an opportunity, and they just take advantage of it every single time.
All right, well, we are nearing the end of the show. Looking forward to tomorrow's show. Again, we'll have roundtable. Scott Rogers, Scott Lorbatch. We're going to have to, I guess, call Scott Scooter so we don't get him mixed up. Jonathan Wagner, myself. We'll even get Philip's take on everybody as we're going to make some roundtable picks. So looking forward to that. Bobby, appreciate it as always.
Yep, appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Our usual Wednesday guest will keep this rolling through baseball season as well. So appreciate everybody tuning in today. Again, Pirate basketball tomorrow, 7 o'clock. The Pirate women are in action at Rice today in a big game. Happy Valentine's Day to all the guys and ladies out there. Appreciate y'all's support of the program. We will be back on Thursday at 12 noon for our ECU Baseball Roundtable preview. We will talk to you then. This has been Hoist the Colors.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all things ECU sports. Get a recap of the show at 943thegame.com, on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We're back tomorrow with more of Hoist the Colors on 943 The Game.
Greenville Toyota's winter wrap-up event. Wrap up a great deal on over 100 pre-owned vehicles, starting under $15,000. We have all makes and models, including luxury. Plus, wrap up a huge warranty and no-charge maintenance. Hurry into Greenville Toyota.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.